Hey there, you found Cameras and Car Seats, the podcast for photographers who are tired of being told to hustle harder while trying to remember if you grabbed diapers at your last Target run. I'm Jamie, your destination adventure elopement photographer who somehow manages to adventure with couples while raising tiny humans.
And I'm Alex, holding down the Lincoln logs in the Midwest traditional wedding scene, proving you can crush those weekend weddings and still make it to family dinner. If you're editing in the pickup line, scheduling client calls during nap time, or just trying to figure out how to run a profitable photography business without sacrificing your family life, you're in the right place. We're dropping real, actionable advice that actually works for mom photographers.
No bro marketing, no toxic hustle culture, just two photographer moms keeping it real about making this whole business thing work while raising our families. So grab your watered down iced coffee.
Ignore that pile of laundry for another hour or day.
And let's dive into today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cameras and Car Seats. So today we are going to be talking about culling, editing, turnaround time, all of those things that as moms, like we kind of sometimes get mom guilt. We kind of like, is this okay? Is what I'm doing allowed? Is this normal? Is this industry standard? We're going to just tear that apart, honestly.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this because I feel like this is such a crucial part in the process of how you run your business that I'm just ready to dive in.
Yeah. Like, honestly, like, ew, how many times did I just say like? But so I feel like it's super important to talk about things that you're doing in your business and talk about them with other photographers because you can feel so alone, not only in motherhood, but also in the photography industry. And I know that some people, they sent us DMs and they were asking like, hey, what do you do for this? What do you do for culling? What do you do for editing? What's your process? And I feel like sometimes when you're listening to a podcast, you're like, yeah, that's great, but what do you actually do?
Yeah, or just dive a little deeper. You know,
Yes.
It's not just like, oh, well, I just get home and I just edit some and then I send them.
Yeah. And so I feel like I'll start first. I use Aftershoot. Aftershoot is amazing. I still sort of manually cull, but so after I do a wedding or a session, it is part of my process to take that session and take it and put it into Aftershoot, run the culling and let it do its thing. I feel like the culling it has learned me, their algorithm. It has learned me really well for the most part now. But it's part of my process. So it is what I do after every single wedding, every single session. And sometimes if it's like destination work, I have it doing it on my way home.
Okay, so let's even back up a little bit more. So when you get home from a session or wedding, what's the first thing you're doing? Like before even after shoot, like walk me through.
Okay. Yes.
I'm watching you. You're giving me a audio version of a vlog right now.
Okay. So the first thing I do, wedding has ended. I give my couples hugs, goodbye. I tell them what to expect, that they should see their sneak peek gallery within 24, 48 hours, and then their full gallery. And then so when I get home, camera bag goes in the same spot, so I know exactly where it is. And then I take camera out. This is if I'm at home. So if I'm not driving a bunch, sometimes I'll bring my laptop with me to weddings and elopements. And I start importing while I'm at the wedding, so that I can already have like some stuff done. And then that way, if it's a drive home, it's culling for me while I'm driving home.
Ooh, see, that's smart. I don't do that.
Ooh, so like it has helped. It's kind of been like a extra little oomph of like it gets it done for me sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I'm one of those people that I'm like, I don't want to take as much gear as I can with me. You know, I don't want it to be another thing that I have to look after. So do you like keep your laptop in your bag, carry it with you, or do you like lock it in your car?
I keep it with me. It just stays in the little laptop sling on the back of my bag.
Okay. I guess I have that too, but I'm just like, I don't know, paranoid about that.
And I feel like that makes sense though, because you are traditional weddings. I'm more elopements and destination work.
That's
so
fair.
Like, I feel like in my mind, it would feel weird not to have my laptop on me.
That's fair, because when I've traveled for weddings, I've taken my laptop so I can like edit sneak peeks if I'm sitting in the airport or something like that. But since I'm just go home that night, I don't bring it with me.
Well, and it's just become part of my workflow now that when I'm in the airport, I'm still on quote unquote client time sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because then I can legit, like I'm still in work mode. So I'm like culling, editing, and then it's part of my workflow. I upload everything so that when I get home, I can have home time. I can have mom time. I can decompress and not feel guilty because I've already completed the job. Like in my mind, a wedding, it's that initial cull and sneak peeks is still like you're at the wedding. You know what I mean? It's like you haven't left the reception yet.
Yeah, well, because everybody's still on that wedding high.
Yeah.
Right? Like they want to see the sneak peeks and everything because everybody's still super excited about it.
And like, I'm not saying that's going to work for everyone. It's just something that I've started doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like it helps me just because that way I can go back into mom mode afterwards. Or if I am traveling, when I come home, I don't feel like I have to immediately sit at my desk, even though I just got done sitting in a really uncomfortable airplane chair.
Yeah, well, it almost is like, oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. My allergies are so bad.
I'm torturing
cats,
Alex.
and I'm allergic to
because
cats.
Cats.
But I feel like having those 24-hour sneak peeks for me feels like I can almost table it for a minute.
Yeah.
Like I can get home, work. They've seen some of the work right away. So then they feel like, okay, I immediately am like excited, happy with the experience. I get to see some of my product and it almost leaves them like satisfied for a little bit. So then you can say, okay, now I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to go sit with my family for a minute and then I'll dive back in later during the work week or when I get back to it. So it's not like you're just like leaving them high and dry.
Can I say like a spicy?
Always.
So
A spicy though.
I 100% agree that fast turnaround time is valuable. It is very valuable, especially in the day and age that we are in. But I think as a creative and as a mom, you need to step away. You can editing immediately, I feel like does not produce your best work. And it can when you're still on a high, but I feel like giving yourself to like sit in that I just created something really cool and like just sitting in and soaking in that moment. Like I just was part of something amazing, but then giving yourself time to like still be in that moment without going to immediately edit. Cause sometimes if I try to immediately edit, I feel like it starts to tarnish the fact that I just had a blast creating something. And then the mom guilt kind of creeps in where like my 3-year-old wants to play and I'm like, hang on, mommy's working. And I'm like, no, I don't want that to be like his memory that, oh, mommy's working. So like, I feel like, yes, fast turnaround time is the goal. My goal is of course to get it out faster, outsource in certain aspects. But I also feel like I need that time to just like be proud of what I did before I rip it apart with editing, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. I almost feel though like, and there's a difference between like diving right into editing versus sending out a few sneak peeks.
Yes,
you know,
I agree.
Final photos and preview sneak peek photos are different. Like, because you can still put your like take on those photos. They're still your style. But then when you go back to like fully edit, you know, you have to like submerge yourself.
Like I feel like there's a few tweaks between my sneak peeks and the final edit just because like I'm like, oh, actually I want to change this and this and this. And that's why I feel like it's fine to have a turnaround time as long as your clients know what that turnaround time is.
Exactly. As long as those were communicated, you know, they know the process, they know the experience, they know what's going to happen, then I feel like that's okay.
Because like before I had kids, my turnaround time for sessions, I'm not even kidding you, it was like a week. And because I love editing. Editing is one of my favorite parts of the process. I had nothing else to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't have kids. So like I could have a 1 week turnaround time and my clients knew that and they were excited. And then once I did have kids, I put out an email like, hey, just so you know, this is my current schedule. I'm with my kids these days, stay at home mom. These are the days I respond to emails. This is exactly step by step when you can expect your gallery. And then something I'm starting to do now as we go into 2025 is I'm like, you can expect your gallery on this date. Because then like I feel like we're the same. When we have a for sure deadline, we get it done. And I don't know if that's like the ADHD in us or what, but like I'm so good with deadlines. If it's a hard and fast date, it's that date.
Yep, exactly.
That's okay. We'll forgive you for coughing.
Okay. Anyway, cats. So well, okay, you said one of your favorite parts is editing, right? This is a little bit of a side tangent, but I just wanted to talk about it for a second. What is your least favorite part of the whole process?
I hate culling.
That's mine
I
too.
hate it.
Yeah, that's mine too.
And I don't even overshoot anymore. Like so say it's for me, normal weddings, elopements are 10-hour days. I, on average for a 10-hour day, will probably have 2,500 photos. And I still hate culling.
You're a lot better at like cooling it when it comes to taking pictures. Like I feel like I overshoot.
Well, okay, don't get me wrong. I do GIF GIFs. So my GIF GIFs are like 100 burst photos,
Yeah, right.
or give or take. And and I love Aftershoot. Aftershoot helps me so much. If you're not familiar with Aftershoot or Imagine, I don't know.
I think it's like Imagine AI.
Yeah, I tried Imogen. I didn't like their pricing structure, so I got in on the founders deal with Aftershoot, and I've actually really fallen in love with a program. But like it's not amazing. It's not a human. And I still have to go through and manually cull things, and I have to be in the zone to cull something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it does a good base cull for me.
Yes.
I also use Aftershoot, and I feel like it does a good generalization of like getting rid of photos with like blinking or anything like that that's like an obvious, or like duplicates, things like that.
But like for me, it struggles with like intentional photos where someone's not looking, because my style is much more documentary. So, and I feel like with culling, I try so hard to lean into storytelling that I'm like, some of the images that it marked as a no, I actually want it as a yes. So that's why it does help. It does cut down my culling time. But then when I'm going back through what it selected and what I want to add back in, sometimes I'm like still doing that split second. And do I like left or do I like right?
It's almost like when I have my kids help me bake something and they want to like stir it or do something. It's like, it's kind of like that. Like they get like the bulk of it done, but then I just kind of have to go back and fix it up a little bit to how I like it.
Or you have to, like clean up
Take
the
some
muffin
of the
pan.
egg shells out of it or whatever.
Like, because there's always a little dribble. Yeah.
Okay, so going back, we talked about when you get home, we kind of sidetracked here. So all the way back to taking your laptop and you do some culling. What do you do then after that?
Okay, so for me with culling, once I have the cull done, and I know we do this differently. I import all of my photos, like raw photos, onto a folder on my desktop, and I think this is actually a debate about how you put your files on your computer. I personally, for organization purposes, I have the folder named Alex and Jamie. Inside that folder, I have another folder called raw. All of my raw files go into that raw folder. So that is my for sure hard master copy of all of the raw files. And then I also, from Aftershoot, I use the star system. So I make their Lightroom catalog. Every single client gets a new Lightroom catalog so that it stays organized. And then if Lightroom were to corrupt, it's only one session that I have to rebuild a catalog for. And then, so like from Aftershoot, I mark them as 5 stars. I open that client's Lightroom catalog. I go into library mode. I select all. And then from the select all, I go up into metadata tab, or it's the file image, and then it's read metadata. And then so it will take everything I did in Aftershoot and pull it into their Lightroom catalog, so that because I will already create the Lightroom catalog with all of the raw images. I'm one of those people that likes to have all of the raw files in the Lightroom catalog, just because like as I'm starting to edit in Lightroom, and then I notice, oh, I actually don't like this photo. I like the split second before it. Like say it's like a derp blink, you know what I mean? Like, and you missed it. And so like, that's why I keep all the raw files. And I do have like, I guess I have a nicer MacBook. It has the nice M2 chip, but like, and it can handle my raw files, but I don't have to worry about if I missed a photo and going back in and importing that photo and then like dealing, like all of the raw files are in my Lightroom catalog, but it still has all the information from Aftershoot.
Okay, so I do mine very similarly.
Really?
Except that I don't do, okay, so I take my photos when I get home, put them in a folder. The folder is the client's name. And then in that folder but I do wedding raw, because then I usually, like when I put on my hard drive, I also have their engagement, stuff like that. So I'll do wedding raw, then I'll pull all the images into Aftershoot, and then I don't though, like I'll pull them from Aftershoot into Lightroom, but when it goes to pull them all into Lightroom, you know how it pulls them up and it has all the ones that you have done checked? Like that's how mine is. Like, because I don't.
It's not like that.
So, like, mine will pull directly in and it brings up all the images, but the ones I selected are checked. So then I'll do a double take of like all the ones that aren't checked because those are my other raws. And that's where I might pull in some extras.
Oh, so that's when you start to do like your manual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then I import from there.
So I feel like we have to do visual aids when we're talking about culling and editing. So like, I feel like this was a good overview of getting started, but I don't want to confuse anyone that's listening either.
Right.
So basically we start the cull right away. It's part of our process after weddings. And then when it comes to like, I feel like the bulk of something I really wanted to talk about today was the fact that it's okay. Your turnaround time is your turnaround time. Because I feel like as moms, we get so caught up in the fact that, oh, well, so-and-so's turnaround time is 2 weeks or so-and-so's turnaround time is 12 weeks. And I feel like it doesn't matter. It is your business. You just need to talk about your boundaries and your rules in your business with your clients. As long as your clients know and they have accepted that and they're like, yeah, we know that's your turnaround time. You have your kids, you have everything going on. That's fine. I just feel like sometimes moms are like, oh, my turnaround time for this wedding was 6 weeks and I feel guilty. No.
Yeah. Everybody's turnaround time is going to look differently based on your needs. Like you need to figure out throughout your week that you're working, what are days that you realistically can actually get work done? Not days that you wish you could get work done, but the days that you can actually get work done. And how long is it going to take you to go through a wedding and then add a little bit of buffer time to that? Just in case something happens. Like when you have kids, there's going to be sick days. There's going to be days where a schedule is off or they don't have school or whatever. So knowing like, okay, I can sit down realistically and get it done in X amount of time. Let's add a couple more buffer days. And that is what your turnaround time should be. It shouldn't be based on somebody else's or what you think industry standard should be. However, people also don't want to wait forever for photos either.
No. So it's like, it's a balance between like, I personally think anything greater than 12 weeks is too long. Whether you are a mom or not, I do think 12 weeks is too long for a wedding. And of course we are talking about photo. We don't do video. So I don't feel like I can realistically speak on video. In my mind, when I was getting married, when I was a bride, like I would love both. Like I would have loved my video back in 12 weeks, but I know there's so much that goes into video. So if you're a videographer listening that has a longer turnaround time, I think the main message is just be upfront with your clients. For weddings, for me right now, my turnaround time is 8 weeks. And before kids, it was 4 weeks. I feel like sometimes I feel guilty when I don't have it done at 4 weeks. And then I have to tell myself like, you didn't have kids then.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like it's different for different stages too. Like I just changed my turnaround time for 2025 to 4 weeks because I only took on X amount of weddings. And so then I know like, okay. And then my husband also now doesn't work a full-time job. So I'm able to sit and focus more because he can take over with the kids more. When he was working full-time, it wasn't that. It was twice as long. So.
Right. Well, and so right now, the stage of life you're in, you have 2 elementary age kids and 1 toddler. And then like you also like, I feel like that's such a good thing to note is everyone's home life looks different too. And I'm not saying that you have to tell your clients your whole life story. I'm just saying set those boundaries up front so they know what they're signing on for.
Exactly. If you are able to tell them what those boundaries are, you will both feel better because your clients will know what to expect from you. And you'll also know when to like actually tell yourself, okay, no, I need to get this done versus when you're actually just freaking out for no reason and not giving yourself enough grace.
Because we've all done it. We've all sat there and we're like, I need to get this done. Look at my desktop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Daniel will tell me like, I'm like, okay, I need to get this done. I've been sitting on this like gallery. I just feel so bad. And he's like, well, how long has it been? And I'm like 3 weeks. And he's like, dude, that's not very long. Like you're fine.
I don't know what it is about our husbands that are just like, okay. And then, but it's true. It's like, I think we sometimes put these unrealistic expectations on ourselves because we'll watch a younger photographer who's like crushing it and and then we're like, oh, should I be doing that? And like, I feel like talking about the comparison trap, and it's like, try not to get in the comparison trap. Like, I know that's hard to do, but just like knowing that this is your business, it's okay to say that your boundaries. It's okay. Like, we are validating you today.
You don't know what other people's commitments are or lack thereof.
Right.
Like, you don't know, do they have kids? Do they not have kids? Do they have a spouse? Do they not have a spouse? Do they have another full-time job? Do they have another part-time job? Do they have a babysitter? Like, you don't know. Even if they're telling you bits and pieces,
even if
you
you're
never know
watching
the full story.
Their Instagram stories where they're posting like, all caught up in editing. I know I posted that last year. Like, yay, I'm done with editing. Now I want to go shoot a wedding.
Yeah.
But like, I was just saying like, I miss wedding season already. And then I know that that could come across as another photographer being like, well, I still have 3 weddings to edit. You know what I mean?
That's why I personally don't post editing lists. Like, I have to do XYZ's gallery and like a list of galleries. Like, that's totally fine. I just personally feel like, for one, I don't want to make somebody feel bad for my workload, and 2, to make it look like to my clients, okay,
you're at the bottom of the list.
You're at the bottom, or it
Yeah.
took you how long? Like, I just don't do that.
I feel like sometimes the lists are fun, but also not necessary sometimes either. If that, so but like, they're fun because you can build hype like, hey, look whose gallery is about to get delivered. But then also sometimes I feel if you're going through a season of life that is super hard, you have so many obligations, after school sports, school, toddlers. I feel like sometimes your time is better well spent if you just email your client and give them an update versus posting on social media.
Exactly.
And
or if I know that I'm about to export a gallery and almost done with it, then I'll post that. Like, I'll post like a picture of my Lightroom screen, and it's like that couple knows that it's their wedding. I'm not doing it to all of them. Like, I'm just doing it to that one because I know for a fact I can get that wedding out then within that 24 hours.
well, and it's
hype.
like the client is watching your story. They know it's coming. Like, they know it's like, they're like,
Yeah.
okay, it's been X amount of weeks.
Every time I do that, I will like get a heart response.
Yes,
and then they'll be
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And it's so in that way, it's fun to post editing like lists or like a screenshot of your Lightroom because it's like, hey, you're next. It's
Exactly.
happening.
But
It's your
people
turn.
are watching. Just because stories go away within a certain time frame, just make sure that when you're posting it, like, it's something that you're okay and valid posting. Just because I also feel like had I been editing this last week, granted I'm done editing now, but all my kids got sick and I had puking kids for 5 days. So what would have happened if I had this giant editing list and posted it? It was like, gonna get it done. And then I had sick kids for 5 days, but that client knew their name was at the top of the list. It just looks like I didn't work for 5 days and they're upset.
Right.
You
right.
know?
And like, that's why I feel like, so you have your family obligations. That's why as photographers, in the first place, we set our turnaround times because we know we're not sitting at our desk the moment we get home from your session, the moment we get home from a wedding. We know we need time to decompress, which is totally valid. And I think every photographer needs to do it. But also, we build in those buffer days because, yeah, your kids got sick.
My favorite thing about having those like time frames and then having like that communicated with my clients is, since doing that, I have never felt guilty about posting personal life things that I'm doing with my kids. But like beforehand, I would have been like, oh crap, like they're going to see that we went on a trip. They're going to see that I'm at the store shopping right now just
went
for
to
fun.
Wisconsin Dells.
They're going to see all these things. They're going to be like, well, why are you not editing? Like, when am I going to get my photos? But now, because I have such set boundaries of like, these are my work days, these are the times I'm taking off, this is when you'll get your pictures back, I post that stuff like that now, and my clients are like, that looks like fun, or like, you deserve it. Like,
Yes,
it's such a flip, and I don't feel guilty for posting it either.
Well, and I also feel like setting those boundaries gives you those clients because like when we first started, we would have those clients that are like, where's my photo? And like, there was no boundaries. There's no communication because of course they're not saying it to be vicious.
No, but all my clients I attract now know I have kids.
Right.
They know my schedule. They know I have kids. They know that my family is a priority to me, and they're okay with that because that's who I've put out that I want to attract.
And like, so I'm coming from someone that doesn't even share their children on my business accounts anymore. But they still know like, this is my turnaround time. stay-at-home mom, and like I it's part of my workflow now. So I feel like if you're a mom, it's so beneficial to have certain workflows so that you don't even have to think about telling your clients this is what you can expect. It's just an automated email that goes out to them saying like, hey, just so you know, I will respond to your emails Monday through Friday only. Expect a response 24 to 48 hours. Expect your gallery on this date within this window. Yes. And like just make it so clear. Do not try to confuse them. Don't try to be clever. Just make it very clear in black and white. These are my rules, quote unquote.
Okay, so you have edited your images and now you're going to export them. What do you do?
Okay, so if we're talking just straight up export settings for Lightroom, I have it go from Lightroom, and then I have it at the very bottom. I feel like not a lot of photographers know about this. You can set it so that they open in another program. And I use the program JPEG Mini.
I use that too.
And I think there's another one out there. I personally just have always used JPEG Mini because it was a one-time buy. And but you can have it so like when they're exporting, when it's done exporting from Lightroom, it will automatically open in JPEG Mini. It just saves you an extra step.
Okay, see, I didn't know that because like I export from Lightroom and then I drag it.
Yeah, see, I don't have to, like, you can legit set it up so it's automatic.
Nice.
And then it will resize it, save it still in the folder like how JPEG Mini does, but it saves you the step of having to drag and drop the folder. Because then like in the past, I would start uploading.
Does
and
it
then
export faster because it's shrinking it or not really?
Well, so it exports it completely. And then once it's completely done, it automatically opens JPEG Mini and runs that folder through. You're just not having to manually.
So you're just automating your process.
Yes. Nice. And then because like in the past, when I'd go to upload a client's gallery, I'd realize I forgot to resize these. And then their gallery is 20 gigabytes instead of 5.
Right. And yeah, well,
and then it takes longer to upload because they're bigger files and they haven't been run through JPEG Mini.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So if somebody like, what the heck is JPEG Mini? It shrinks your file size without actually taking away the quality of your image, which is also a huge thing for like your website. It will help like load times, all of that too. So
not sponsored, but
no, it's not.
Another reason I love JPEG Mini is you can actually, so you can have it set to optimize, which is 24/7 how mine is usually, but you can also, if you need to, which is so much easier than opening Photoshop, you can set the settings to like resize the long edge to this size or make it this size. So like if you're submitting photos to a blog, a styled shoot, or like a contest and it needs to be a certain megabyte, like I just submitted photos to the Elopement Awards and it has to be 1 megabyte. So like I can just set JPEG Mini really fast and it's so much faster than having to open up Photoshop and like, okay, is this the right size? No. Go back into Photoshop. Is this the right size?
It works fast.
It's so fast.
It goes so fast.
And again, not sponsored, but JPEG Mini lets you do video, I think, now. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm pretty sure you can do video. But okay, so programs. Aftershoot. I have used Photo Mechanic in the past.
I used to use that before Aftershoot.
You know what what I was going to try, I never have, but I really wanted to try, I think it's called Narrative. Because Narrative, I think, was better for culling group photos, like wedding party photos and stuff, because it pulled up the faces.
Didn't that also work for groupings for blogging?
Yeah.
Because I used it for a while.
I never used it, but like I found Aftershoot before I jumped ship from Photo Mechanic. I was going to jump ship from Photo Mechanic to Narrative, but then I found Aftershoot, and Aftershoot just like swerved right in, and I'm like, hey, girl.
Like,
and now
shoot.
I am an Aftershoot fangirl, and so like now I do all my culling in Aftershoot, pull it into Lightroom. As I'm editing in Lightroom, I pull back and I look at the whole gallery. Like I go through, because I use the star system, I look at the 0 stars that are like the photos I didn't select. And like sometimes I'm like, okay, just kidding. I want this photo, not this photo. Sync edits, 5 star, 0 star. And like I'm going through the whole gallery, and then I export from Lightroom. I have it automatically set up to export and then go through JPEG Mini, and then I use PicTime, and I upload everything to PicTime.
I use PicTime too. What is one thing that you love about PicTime?
It lets me upload video now.
Yes.
I'm so excited about that because I do iPhone content for my clients, and I do GIFs. Is it a GIF? Is it a GIF?
Is it peanut butter or is it not?
Yeah. But like I could upload all of that into pick time now, and it just makes me so happy because I don't expire my galleries.
I don't either.
Because I pay for unlimited storage, so why would I expire them? I do make sure I send my clients physical USB drives after their weddings, but I leave all their galleries open. If I have no reason to close it, I have no reason to close it.
I have them, but just for like to cover myself, I don't say like they have lifetime.
Yeah.
So
in my contract,
like just because I have 1 year gallery access for them is what it says.
I just updated my contract for 2025 and it covers me for 6 months.
Okay.
So like I technically in my contract guarantee every client 6 months of gallery access. I just never expire it. It just always stays open.
I just do it a year. One thing that is changing for me for the packages that I've been booking going into 2025 is I offer slideshows now. Ooh. So then they can like open it and watch a slideshow of their images.
I've done slideshows for a couple people, but I kind of forgot they existed. So thank you for reminding me. I'm going to go copy you now. Oh my gosh. Okay. So culling, editing, programs we use. Moms, you are validated today, okay? If you need 4 weeks to edit your session, that's fine. That is fine.
If you need 8 weeks.
If you need 8 weeks.
That's fine.
That's fine. Our biggest hype here today, if you take anything from this lesson, is you don't need to feel guilty about your turnaround time. You just need to communicate with your clients. Other photographers are not your problem. Is that the word I'm looking for? Like, you don't need to compare your business to another photographer's. You guys are two different people, two different home lives, and they may have a partner that supports them. They may not. They may have a babysitter. They may have daycare, preschool. They may have different things set up that lets them have certain turnaround times, and you may still be figuring it out. And that's okay.
Yes.
We're all in this together.
Telling somebody like to, this is the equivalent that popped up in my head when you were saying this. Telling somebody to run their business the same way as somebody else runs theirs would be telling somebody to parent their kid the same way that they would parent another kid, because every kid is so different. If you have multiple kids, you know you cannot parent them the same way, because their personalities are different.
Oh, it's so different.
So it would be like me telling you how to parent your kids. Like you just can't.
I have boys. No, I just kidding.
Like there's people that are there that can help give you advice. Like they can help with advice on certain things. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do for you. But make sure that you're tailoring your business just like you tailor your parenting.
Exactly. And like whatever works for you is going to work for you. Because I know it's so funny because I'm like thinking of all the funny TikToks that are crossing my mind right now of gentle parenting millennials where it's like, if you don't freaking put your shoes on right now, mommy's not going to know how to handle her feelings.
This is why millennials are running their own businesses, because we shouldn't be bosses.
We should. I make the millennial joke so many times of like, if you can, but not really, it's okay.
Exactly.
But if it's possible, I try so hard to get out of that.
Have Gen Z employees at our coffee shop, and anytime that I try to tell them what to, like, they'll come to me with a problem and I'm like, oh, that sounds like a problem for your boss. And they're like,
I am the boss.
Or one was like, yeah, the sink is on the fritz. And I was like, yeah, same. So, and then I just walked away.
It's so funny. Like, cause like, I feel like as an elder millennial, I'm in my 30s now with 2 kids, and like, I'll see these adorable young 20-something baby photographers without kids yet. And I'm just like, oh, I should be more like that. Oh no, I'm that was me 10 years ago.
The funny thing is though, those photographers probably look at you or like photographers like with kids and think, man, like that, I want to be that someday.
Okay, I'm curious if this has ever crossed your mind, because I have known photographers that have known me and they're looking at me like, well, why can't you? And I'll be like, well, I have a kid, and they didn't have kids yet. And then like they have kids and they're like, I get it now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's okay. You didn't know.
Like once you know, you know.
Yeah. And it's, you can't explain it until you're in it. So that's why I don't know. Not to be cheesy or on a soapbox, but I'm just so freaking happy we decided to start this podcast just so moms could feel seen and be like, you can sit with us. We get it. We've experienced it.
You can sit with us. There might be some crumbs on our table, but you're welcome here.
Don't look in my backseat. Mercer spilled granola all over my car. I feel so bad for the guy that details my car. Anyway, we're going to get a little rambly here, I feel like. So if you guys have more questions about culling, editing,
or any of those settings that we talked about.
Yeah, and I feel like it could be so helpful if we even, like, if you guys wanted to, we could try to do like a screen recording for you so you can actually see what's happening in our Lightroom and our JPEG Mini. So just let us know. We will be in touch, honestly, probably pretty fast if you reach out in the DMs. But yeah, you guys can find us on Cameras and Car Seats on Instagram, TikTok. Where else can they find us?
On Apple and Spotify.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know if you like actually seeing our faces as we're talking instead of just a stagnant photo. We're figuring out adding video to this. So we will get this going. We're just really excited you're here. Ask us anything and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.